So I talk a lot about how our children are giving us the manual for how to parent them. And I want to give an example of what I mean by that. So, there were years that I struggled with my older son. He's very strong willed, he's very independent. And, strong willed kids run differently. They just do, they think differently. It's a different breed. And there were times that I would take this personally, that I would be like, why is he fighting me? Why is this so difficult? And there was a particular moment I remember watching him, and like the penny finally dropped. So I'm going to share this story with you. We were at a pizza place, and he looked at the menu and he decided he wanted to have a pizza with olives. And that wasn't what he normally ordered. So I was like, huh. And he ordered it. And then it turned out that the pizza oven at the restaurant was down for the day. They couldn't make any pizza. So he couldn't get it. And the next day, my husband wound up bringing home an olive pizza for him for dinner. Very sweet, very kind, hands it to the child. And he's like, I don't like olive pizza. We're like, oh, okay, all right. And I'm like, so I turned to him and I'm like, well, why did you order the olive pizza yesterday? And he's like, oh, well, it was because of the menu. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he says, well, I think it was like pineapple, olives, anchovies. Those are the options for the toppings. And I was like, okay. And he's like, so pineapple, like, that's the first one. Like, no. And then he's like, olives, maybe. Anchovies, like, no way. So olives. And I was like, what if olives had been the first one on the menu? He's like, probably wouldn't have gotten it, probably would have gotten it plain. I was like, oh my God. So it was like a great window into his brain. And you see, he's having a relationship with the menu. Like, it's how his brain works, where the first idea that comes, it's just not going to be right because it feels like being told what to do. It's not even about what the idea is. This is why sometimes you can give your child something they love, but they didn't have any say in it, right? So especially for strong-willed kids, kids who, if you have a kid who has pathological demand avoidance, right? Some of the kids that wind up getting diagnoses of oppositional defiance disorder, or just are plain strong-willed kiddos. Any of these kids really want to have autonomy. And that autonomy runs so much deeper than you think. It's a primal nervous system level autonomy. And because of that, very often the very first thing you float out will always be a no. And so this is why I want to just tell you, don't take it personally. It's not about you. It is actually your child, like, work in their brain, their beautiful brain that they've been given, that is absolutely wonderful. And this is not a problem. This is just who they are. And as we get to learn them and know them, we can really begin to understand who they are, how they work, and how we can best support them and be in relationship with them. So that's an example of your child giving you their manual. If you learn to watch for these moments without judgment, they're teaching you how they think. They're teaching you who they are. And as you learn to get the manual from them, then you can learn who to be with them.